You have searched me, you have known me, you're acquainted with my ways. You have laid your hand upon me, heard my thoughts from far away. In the night time or the light, I'm just as visible to you. How marvelous this knowledge is, and how I need you to search me, oh God, and know my heart. Try me, oh God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me, oh God. How precious are your thoughts toward me. How great is the sum of them. In your book were the days you had for me, when as yet there was none of them. I will praise you, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. My soul knows well how skillful is the one to whom I prayed. Search me, oh God, and know my heart. Try me, oh God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me, oh God, and where can I go from your spirit? Where can I hide from your presence? If I rise into heaven, you are there. And if I make my bed in hell, you are there. And if I ride upon the wings of morning, or I sail the farthest sea, even there your hand will hold me. Search me, oh God, and know my heart. Try me, oh God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me, O God. Search me, O
All right. Hey, good evening, everybody. It is Thursday, May the 26th, 2022, and I hope you all are doing well. I've had kind of a crazy day with some unexpected things today, and so I didn't have the time that I wanted to fully get be prepared for today's daily manna in the way that I wanted to in Isaiah. So but we still need to be in the Word together today. So we're going to be looking at today's the 26th. We're going to be looking at Psalm 26 today. And sometimes there are days like that where things show up that and happen, and in those days we still need to gather together. But sometimes when I'm coming on a passage like I'm on right now, I never want to shortchange that passage. When I mean, honestly, sometimes it can be new preparation every day, depending on what's going on, can be a lot. So sometimes I have to pull from something that I've prepared in the past. But pray for the Lord to give us kind of a fresh perspective on it today. I hope you understand that. I do want to let everyone know as well that next week I have a conference that I have to I'm under U.S. missions appointment, and there's a conference that's required for all AG US, Assembly of God U.S. missionaries, and so I have to be at that next week in Missouri. However, what I'm wanting to do next week is we will have. I'm going to try for daily manna, even if I have to pre-record it, but they'll likely be in the Psalms. So we'll at least because I'll be doing so many different things that the kind of preparation that I want to do through Isaiah will have to just be on pause for that time until I'm back from the conference, and then we can hit it again. I hope everyone understands that. Let me just give you another heads up. In late July is when our family is going to go on our family vacation. So there'll be a couple of weeks, obviously. Then there won't be any live daily manna or even pre-recorded for those days, simply because it's my vacation. So I just want to let everybody know those things in advance, and we're going to keep, making our way through, coming together. But the goal every day is for us to come together, to be in the Lord's presence, to be in His Word, to say, Lord, what's the manna, what's the fresh word that you have for us today? And then one other note, I just want to let you all know that on Friday, June the 24th, we have scheduled, so a month basically from tomorrow, 4 weeks from tomorrow, we're going to be having a gathering where we all gather together on that Friday evening to worship together. And so just mark your calendars with that. All right, let me say hello to everybody. Hello to my mom. I love you, Mama. Good evening to Jerry and Janet, and glad you're back from Ohio. And hello to Rachel, and congratulations to Esther on her graduation. And hello to Barbara. Buenos tardes to Elva. Hope you're doing well today. Good afternoon to Kelly Kenfield, and to Kelly Shepard, and to Kelly and Melody Woods. And good evening to Sonia and Margarita and Ron and Amy. Hope you guys are doing well. Shalom to Steve, and let's see here. And we've got, maybe I haven't caught, let's see if I caught anybody here. Good evening to Pastor and Sister Martinez, to Elizabeth and Jesse and Philip and Salome. And then I'll say good evening in advance to Joshua as well, and then we'll catch everyone on the other side of this. Well, this is today is the 26th, and Psalm 26 has become it's become one of my favorite psalms. It was probably a psalm that for a long time I didn't fully grasp. I didn't fully understand it. So I would read it, but just kind of read it and then keep moving on. But I've entitled today's Daily Manna the prayer of the committed trainee. There's a difference between. Have you ever said, like, I really want to do this, and you struggle with why am I not doing it? And there is this idea of having a desire for something. Lord, I really want to walk with you. I really want to be like you. And then there's the I am committed to this process. Like, I'm going to do this. There is a willing, saying my full. It's like sometimes it's like I want to, and sometimes it's like I will. I'm going to do this. I know that for me several years ago, which I need to get back into that place. Several years ago, I hit this point where I needed to get healthy. And for years, I had been like, yeah, of course I want to lose weight, or I want to get healthy. I want to get in shape. And yeah, I want to do that. But then it'd be like, well, this is going on, and this is going on, and it's a birthday party, and, and it's the holidays, and I want to, but. And then I hit a point where I was like, I'm committed to, this is my journey. This is my journey. Nothing's going to, my full will is committed to this. That's what we see in Psalm 26. What you see in Psalm 26 is someone that's saying, I want so much to be like you, Lord. I want you to teach me. Not so that I can say, hey, look, I'm on his team, but because I want truly to be like you. I want excellence in my walk with you. I think I always give the example of the Karate Kid where, in the Karate Kid, where Mr. Miyagi, Daniel says, I want to learn karate. And so then Mr. Miyagi says, are you ready to learn karate? And he goes, yeah, I guess so. And Miyagi goes, either you karate yes, or you karate no. You karate guess so, squish, just like grape, right? He says, you walk left side of the road, you're fine. You walk the right side of the road, you're fine. You walk middle of the road, squish, just like grape. He says, now here's the deal. Okay, so you're committed to this? He says, here's the deal. I'm the teacher, you're the student. I say, you do, no questions. And he goes, okay, he commits to that. So then the training process begins. Wax and wash my cars. What's this got to do with karate? Hey, just trust me. Sand the deck. What's this got to do with karate? Just do what I say. Are you committed to this process? And he goes through the things, paint the fence, paint the house, and finally he says, forget it. This doesn't look like what I thought training would be. I wanted the result, but I don't like this training, so I quit. And then Mr. Miyagi, of course, shows him, this is what's been being produced in you through this process. In Psalm 26, David comes to the Lord, and he basically is saying, I want you to test me to see where I'm at. Because if I see where I'm at, then I'll know my progress. I'll know where I'm at and where I need to get to. I want to see I don't want to be deceived about where I'm at. I want to know. He says in verse 1 here, Psalm 26 is the Psalm of David. He opens up with vindicate me. It's usually the word shafat from the word mishpat, judge, vindicate. It often says, judge me, Adonai. And he said, I want you to look at me, judge me. It's a strange way to begin a prayer, right? Because when we think about God's judgment, there's usually a heavy dose of fear associated with that. But here he's saying, judge me, look at me, where am I? He says, because I have walked in my integrity, in my tam, in my simplicity, in a singular focus on you. Okay, how am I doing? Because I have walked in my integrity, in the simplicity of this, and I have trusted in Adonai without tottering, without wavering. This is like when you ask someone, tell me how I'm really doing. I want to know how I'm really doing. Don't just tell me what I want to hear. Because I want to actually become this. It's there's all these singing shows where people are terrible singers. When you see these, like, America's Got Talent and all that kind of stuff, and someone gets on there and you're like, didn't they have a parent? Didn't someone love them enough to say, oh man, I love your heart and I enjoy it, but I don't know that you're yet at this place. Instead, they keep telling him what they want to hear, and instead of saying, hey, you may need some more training, you need to hear yourself, because I don't think that this is going to work. Not being negative, just being honest. Sometimes we don't want to hear the negative, but sometimes the negative is true. And if we really want to become that, we have to deal with the negative, right? And so this is the person saying, look, I don't want it. Don't delude me, Lord. Judge me, show me, because I have been committed to trusting in you. I am committed to walking in integrity. So he continues in verse 2. He says, uses the word bachan, probe me, or examine me. Bachan, put me to the test. But it's a look closely, the way a jeweler would look at a diamond, look at a precious stone. Take a close look, Adonai. Probe me and test me. That second word, test me, is nasa. Put me on the exercise bike. Do a stress test. See where my heart's really at. He says, refine my mind. Saraf is to purify, to melt, to liquefy. It's this picture of the liquefaction, the melting of the refining of metals, where the heat is such that the impurities rise to the top. You can now see it. The pressure is such that the impurities rise, because I'm intent on truly being pure. I don't want to just look pure. I want you to look up close, and that when you look up really close, I want to be what you've called me to be. I want you to refine my mind, my innards, he says, which is my mind is this word for literally kidneys, but it's your emotions. Refine, purify my emotions, my feelings, and my heart, he says. Verse 3, because your chesed, your love, the fullness of your love is before my eyes. It's revealed, it's laid out before my eyes. And I have walked in your truth. Right? David can ask the Lord to search him in this way, to examine him, to run him through tests, to purify him. It's not a scary thing, because he knows the character of the Lord. I trust in your heart toward me. When I say to you, test me and know me, I know that your heart is not to destroy me, but to give me life and to make me who you've intended to be. You may run me to where I feel like I'm going to die, but you're not going to kill me. You're only making me more into what you want to be. Your chesed, your love, your covenant faithfulness is what I'm looking at. It's what I'm focused on, and I've walked, he says, I've walked in your truth. Right? And so now in these next verses, he begins to say, here's how I'm walking in your truth. So tell me if I'm doing all right, Lord. This is what I am committed to walking in your ways. Again, I don't want something that's just the surface. I don't want to look like your character on the outside. I want to become like you from the very depths of me. That's what I'm committed to. So search me, probe me, test me, judge me. How am I doing? Just tell me the honest truth, Lord. He says here in verse 4, he says, I have not sat with men of falsehood or men of emptiness, men of vanity. Nor do I consort, nor do I come and go with hypocrites, with pretenders, with the secret ones. Right? So the word shavah, emptiness or falsehood, is it's the same word that's used in you shall not lift the Lord name in emptiness, where you lift up his name and his reputation, his character, but there's nothing to it. He goes, I'm not dwelling with people who are defined by emptiness, where maybe they look like it on the surface, but there's no substance. No, I'm surrounding myself with people who are also committed to your ways. I don't consort with those who are pretenders, with hypocrites. I'm not interested in a game, Lord. This is the prayer of the disciple. I want to truly, do you grasp that? Like, I want to truly become, and then sometimes you start going through you want to become this? Well, this is what you have to do, and you start walking through that, and you're like, this is too hard. And he said, but I trust that you know what's best for me as you walk me through this. He says, verse 5, because I'm walking in your truth, he says, I detest the company, the gathering of evildoers, and I don't sit with the wicked, right? Those not walking in your truth, it sickens him, right? He hates the gathering of these evildoers, the assembling of those who are doing evil, those who are doing that which is against the goodness of God. I don't sit with them. I'm not with them. I'm committed to your ways. Right, walking in God's truth, walking in wholeness, walking in simplicity, the integrity of his ways. He says the things they're doing are things I'm not doing. But now in verse 6 he says, here's what I am committed to doing. I don't do those things, but I will wash my hands in innocence. So that, and this word is so that I can go around, walk around, and to kind of go around your altar. But this is one of those first-person cohortative verbs where he's expressing his deep desire and intent. This is my desire. This is what I'm intent on doing. This is what I'm committed to doing. I don't just want to. I'm committed to it. So that I can walk around your altar, Adonai, listening, hearing the voice of thanksgiving, while proclaiming all of your wonders, while proclaiming or recounting, rehearsing all of the extraordinary things that you've done. So he's describing this coming to the tabernacle, coming to the place where God's presence dwells. And when you come in to do the washing, he's not simply just going through the motions of emptily washing his hands. He's committed to washing and to being washed in innocence and cleanness. I want to be innocent, fully innocent. That's my commitment, so that he can go around the altar of sacrifice and that he can proclaim. And again, proclaim is the word shema, so he can hear and proclaim. So he can hear and do. He can declare this voice of thanksgiving, which is what the Lord desires, right? When you read in Psalm 50 and the Lord says, well, Psalm 50 is amazing, but we're not in Psalm 50 today. The Lord says, I want a heart of thanksgiving, a heart that recognizes who I am, that all I've done for you. Because when you really recognize that, it impacts the way you live your life. And David's recounting all of God's wonders, all the extraordinary, difficult things the Lord has done. Verse 8, he says, Lord, Adonai, I love the house where you live. He says, I love Ahavti ma'on betecha. I love the den of your house. Right? That's the language here. I love the den in your house. I love this, the place where you are most comfortable. There's an intimacy there. There's a resting in the place, the house where you dwell, the house where you live, the den of your house, the place where your glory dwells. And in Psalm 68:6 uses the same word ma'on, the den. And it says in Psalm 68:6, it says, a father of orphans, defender of widows is God in his b'mon chadsho, in his holy den. I love being in that place. Where is God most comfortable? He's most comfortable expressing the character of who he is as the father of the fatherless, as the defender of those who have no one to defend themselves. That's who he is. I love being in that place with you, in the place that most fully expresses your your character, the comfort of where you are, the comfort where you're comfortable is in the place when you are surrounded by those who are weak and those who are helpless and they need you. And that's where I want to be. I want to be there reflecting your character, the place where your glory dwells. He continues, verse 9. He says, do not gather my soul away with sinners. The picture as you gather up, as you come in to harvest, to gather up evildoers, sinners, he says, don't mix me in, like remove me from that, please. Don't gather my soul away with sinners, nor my life with people of bloodshed, in whose hands are wicked schemes, whose right hand is full of bribes. Don't mix me in with those who miss your ways, those whose people are full of they're living in a way that doesn't care about, their hands are full of bloodshed and evil plans, and it's all about me first. If it results in death or whatever, it's okay. Injustice, bribes. He says, no, I don't want to be anywhere that. Verse 11, he says, but as for me, as for me, I will walk. I'm intent on walking in my integrity. This brings us back to where he started, where he says, but I in my integrity, I will walk. I've walked in integrity, and that's what I'm going to do. I've walked in the simplicity of your ways. That's what I'm going to do. Redeem me and be gracious. Show kindness, Hanan, show kindness, favor toward me. My feet stand, verse 12, on level ground. In the congregations, in the gatherings, I will bless Adonai. Now, again, some people, when you read this psalm, it does, first, this is why it probably wasn't my favorite, one of my favorites for a long time. Because at first glance, it seems to have it feels like it's like, what a good boy I am, I am innocent. I haven't done these things, have I? But no, this is one who's desperately saying, I'm committed to walking in your truth. So would you look at what I'm doing and test it, because I want it to be pure? And as I'm walking, I don't just come going, well, I do this and I do this and I do this, and so I'm fine. No, search me in the depth of my being. In Psalm 50, when the Lord comes and he says, what is this? You guys what is this? You evil ones that recite my laws on your lips, right? People that know God's word, know his laws, but he's calling them evil because they're not walking in his ways. He says, because the problem is you think I'm just like you. Rather than saying, I want to be like you, Lord, you're assuming I'm like you. So David, on the other hand, is not assuming, yeah, I'm fine. He's saying, okay, I'm committed to walking in your ways. Okay, I'm not sitting with evil. I'm not interested in dwelling with those who walk in vanity and emptiness. I want the real deal. I don't want to be around connected with pretenders. I want the real deal. Because I want to walk around. I want to wash my hands in innocence. I want to be near your altar walking. I'm intent on walking around your altar. This is it. How am I doing, Lord? What's my progress? Am I on the right track? If not, would you set me right? That's the prayer of the trainee who's actually interested in becoming, the disciple who's actually interested in becoming like the one who's leading him. I don't want to just look like Yeshua. I don't want to just appear like Yeshua to you and to others when they see me. I want to be like him when no one's watching. That's the tall order that we all, if we're honest, we all fall short of. And our heart's desire is to say, Lord, search me and know me. Check me out. See if my motives are where they need to be. Show me about me what I don't recognize about me. And sometimes when we lay that question before the Lord, when we put ourselves before him, and sometimes we think we're going to get a good grade. We're like, hey, tell me how I'm doing. Tell me how I'm doing. And we want affirmation. Doing good, Lord? And sometimes the Lord allows the pressures of life to reveal where we're really at. And sometimes we end up being disappointed about what's revealed in us. I mean, after After 3 years of literally walking with Yeshua, 3 years, I mean, Peter was supremely confident of his loyalty toward Yeshua, right? In Luke 22, verses 31, beginning verse 31, it says, Yeshua says to him, Simon, Simon, indeed Satan has demanded to sift you all like wheat. But I've prayed for you, Simon, that your faith will not fail. And when you've turned back, strengthen your brothers. But Simon said to him, Master, I'm ready to go with you even to prison and to death. Matthew 26:33, it says, Peter replied to him, though all fall away because of you, I'll never fall away. Back to Luke 22, verse 34, Yeshua said, but I tell you, Peter, a rooster will not crow today until you've denied me, until you denied 3 times that you even know me. And then we see in Luke 22, now they lit a fire in the center of the courtyard and sat down together, and Peter was sitting among them. It's what he thought he was going to be, and now comes the test. Search me, show me. You'll see. Everyone else may deny you, but not me. I know who I am. Yeshua says, you're going to be sifted, but after you've turned, strengthen those who are weak. Strengthen your brothers. So now comes the test. And servant girl saw him sitting at the fire, verse 56. She looked straight at him and said, this one was with him too. But he denied it, saying, woman, I don't know him. A little later, another saw him and said, you too are one of them. But Peter said, man, I'm not. About an hour later, another began to insist, saying, certainly this fellow was with him. He too is a Galilean. Peter said, man, I don't know what you're talking about. And immediately, while he was still speaking, a rooster crowed. And the Lord turned, looked straight at Peter. And then Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he had told him, before the rooster crows today, you'll deny me 3 times. And Peter went out and wept bitterly. He tells him at the end of John chapter 21, truly, truly, amen, amen, I tell you, when you were younger, you used to dress yourself, walk wherever you wanted. When you grow old, you'll stretch out your hands and someone else will dress you and carry you where you don't want to go. Now this he said to indicate the kind of death by which Peter was going to glorify God. And after this, Yeshua said to him, follow me. Verse 20, Peter turning around sees the disciple following him. Verse 21, seeing him, Peter said to Yeshua, Lord, what about him? Yeshua said to him, if I want him to remain until I come, what's that to you? You follow me. Stop comparing yourself to others. It's you and me, kid. So that later when Peter writes his epistle, he says in 1 Peter 2, what credit is there if when you sin and get a beating you endure, but if you endure when you do good and suffer for it, this finds favor with God. For you were invited to this. When he said, follow me, you were called to this because Messiah also suffered for you, leaving you an example so you might follow in his footsteps. I don't want to just look like him. I do want to look like him in my character on the outside. Oh, but I want so much. I want to be like him. But am I committed to that? Am I willing to say, really train me, Lord? Because I'm so desperate to be like you that I'll lay it all down, that I'll go through whatever it takes. So that even when I get tired of waxing cars and sanding fences and sanding floors and painting houses and going, what is all of this even doing? What is this even producing? That I won't say I'll quit, but I'll say I trust in your ways. Test me, show me, make me like you, Lord. That's the prayer of the committed disciple. Let's be committed. And not just assume we're committed, but to say, search me and know me. Because it's worth it. Right? I've counted up the cost, Lord, and you're worth it. I'll sell everything because what you have is that pearl of great price. I'll sell everything. I'll give it all up. We say it, and then we go, I think that costs too much. Just search us, Lord, and know us. Show us where we are, and make us more like you. Awaken our hearts, Lord, to not just walk through the motions of the same old stuff and just assuming that we're where we need to be. But, Lord, may we because we trust in your love, because we look to your love, because we say, I trust that you'll do, I trust in who you are, so here I am, Lord. I lay my life before you. Form your character in me. Amen. Amen. All right. Well, let me say hello to anybody that I missed this evening. Good evening to the Eddies, to Lauren and Mike and David and Levi and Valor and Haven and Everett, and good evening again to Joshua, and to, I think that's still everyone. Good evening again to Elizabeth and to Misty. All right, and I think that's everyone. Again, just a reminder that next week, for 1 week, from Tuesday to Tuesday, but next week I've got a conference that I've got to be at, so I still want to do Daily Manna every day, but it probably won't be Isaiah, because I want to make sure that I won't have the kind of preparation time that I need daily because of all the other things that I'll be doing to prepare for that. But I still want us to be together in the Word every day, so we'll probably have over this next week a series, some Psalms, and just time to say, Lord, give us a fresh word, and then we'll hit right back. When I get back rolling, we'll hit right back into Isaiah. Okay? All right. Well, may the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Shalom, shalom. Have a beautiful day.
You have searched me, you have known me, you're acquainted with my ways. You have laid your hand upon me, heard my thoughts from far away. In the nighttime or the light, I'm just as visible to you. How marvelous this knowledge is, and how I need you to search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, O God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me, O God. How precious are your thoughts toward me. How great is the sum of them. In your book were the days you had for me, when as yet there was none of them. I will praise you, for I'm fearfully and wonderfully made. My soul knows well how skillful is the one to whom I've prayed. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, O God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me, O God, and where can I go from your Spirit? Where can I hide from your presence? If I rise into heaven, you are there. And if I make my bed in hell, you are there. And if I ride upon the wings of morning, or I sail the farthest sea, even there your hand will hold me. Search me, O God, and know my heart. Try me, O God, know my anxiety. See if there be any wicked way in me, and lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Lead me in your everlasting way. Search me,